Hello, my name is Davien Harlis. If you see me on the street, you can call me Davien or you can call me MJ. And here's an outpour of my story. My coming out story was, I wasn't ready to come out when I came out. I knew that I was gay and I had my first boyfriend. I was 15 and my mom for some reason kept asking me, "Are you gay?" And I would say, "Why do you keep asking me this?" And she'd be like, "Are you gay?" And I was like, "Why do you keep asking me that?" So we went on this for like weeks and months. She kept asking me. I walked in the house one day with my boyfriend and he had my books in his hand. And she was like, "Why does he have your books?" And I was like, "Well, we just got out of the car, so he got the books." And so I turned 16 and the questions kept coming. "Are you gay? Are you gay?" And then one day I said, "Why do you keep asking me this?" And she was like, "I saw the pictures." She had gone through my personal pictures. Now keep in mind, I'm a little bit older, so this is before cell phones and hiding stuff in your secret compartments and on your computer. These are Polaroid pictures or developed pictures from like Walgreens or somewhere. I hid these pictures underneath a drawer in my room, and she some kind of way found the pictures of me and my boyfriend together. And so she asked me, she was like, "Yeah, are you gay?" And I was like, "Why do you keep asking me?" She was like, "I saw the pictures." And my response was, "What are you doing in my stuff?" And she was like, "Do you know how I cried?" And I was so upset. I was like, "Girl, what are you crying for?" And so we sat down and we had this long conversation about me being gay. And she had her feelings and I had my feelings. But once my mom found out, I no longer cared about anyone else finding out. And so after she found that out, that's when I pretty much was just out all the way. When she found the pictures, I don't know if I felt like that freed me or not. I guess I would have to say yes, because I had always said, if my mom finds out, then it'll be whatever. Because I didn't care about nobody else's opinion. I'm kind of shocked I cared about hers. But after she found out, it was like, well, she knows now, so it is what it is. Back in like the late 80s, early 90s, it just wasn't a conversation of gay, bisexual, or anything like that. I knew that I wasn't necessarily attracted to girls, although I still had girlfriends. It was just kind of like what you were supposed to do. But I knew that I had an attraction to boys. Probably fifth grade is when I realized I had an attraction. It wasn't until 10th grade when I had my first interaction with the male. But I'd say 4th or 5th grade. When I got to high school, they put me in chorus. So I was in chorus for my 9th grade year. And my 10th grade year, I noticed it was me and some guys that started hanging out. One of the guys, his name was Brandon, I'll never forget him. And I thought he was handsome, but he thought I was more attractive than I thought about him. Didn't think anything of his sexuality, but we started hanging out. And so one night he came over my house. He spent the night over my house because we would be together every single day. And one day he came to my house and we were saying a little crazy stuff back to each other, like, "Oh, fuck you," or "Bitch, out this," and a little sly stuff. And I think we both were trying to catch on to see how the other person would respond to what we were saying. And so I knew that something was up. I went to go take a shower and he came in the bathroom. But I didn't take my clothes off. I stood there with my clothes on because I felt like he was gonna come in. And he did. And so that kind of let me know that there could possibly be some attraction there. Well, later on that night, we spent the night at his house. And this was my first time staying at his house. And I laid in his bed. And he laid in the bed too. And I remember saying, "I want to hear some music." And he was like, "What kind of music you want to hear?" And I just was like, music. I wasn't talking about the radio. I was trying to see I don't know, for some reason I just kind of knew that it was about to get sexual between us. And so I said I wanted to hear some music, and he took the bait in some kind of way. I don't know if I kissed him first or he kissed me first, but we kissed, and the kiss led to everything. So when I graduated from high school, I had always said that I wanted to relocate. And I was attending college in Fort Lauderdale. I'm from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And my mom said that she was relocating here. And when my mom said that she was relocating, my best friend had already relocated here. And so I thought it would be an opportunity for me to get out of Florida. My mom was leaving and my best friend was already here. So it just made sense for me to come with my mom to Atlanta, Georgia. And that was in 2003. So I've been here for 17 years. I've learned things about myself that I did not know, because when I came to Atlanta, I didn't know that I wanted to be an actor, because originally I started out in music, but I didn't want to be a singer. It was just something I knew how to do. And a lot of people said that I should model, but I didn't want to be a model either. But I trained for it. So when I came to Atlanta, I had all of those things under my belt, and that could have been an avenue that I pursued. But leaving church one day, a lady came up to me and she said, "You look like a character I want to play in my stage play." And I was like, okay, cool. And so we did the play. And at the end of it, I realized that acting was something that I enjoyed. And so that's how the acting world came about. But I've just learned that I was an actor. I learned that I was able to write. And I learned that I could run a business here. I grew up. Before Atlanta, I was very immature. What showed me that I needed to grow up was some of the same. So I left Florida because I was getting in trouble, and I had gotten arrested a couple of times. And when I got to Atlanta, I had gotten arrested a couple of times here, and I said, I must still be doing the same thing that I was doing in Florida here in Atlanta. And I noticed that I wasn't getting anywhere. I wasn't growing. It was that same downward spiral. What caused me to grow up was I met this guy, and he was very mature when it came to his professional life, and he was just on top of his business. And when we came together, I was older than him and he was younger than me, but it showed me just how out of whack my life was. And so by us coming together, it really helped me just to get myself on track. It wasn't until that boyfriend and that relationship that I got myself together. What the relationship taught me, it taught me that there was more than what I was looking at in life. Like, he's the guy that caused me to get my first passport. Before him, I was okay with just going from Fort Lauderdale to Georgia and saying I went out of town. So I got a passport and I went out of the country. So I began acting during a time where web shows were beginning to get popular. I don't know if you guys remember, but when Issa Rae when Aqua Black Girl got picked up by HBO, a whole slew of content creators decided to start making projects. My journey caused me to work on a lot of student projects, and I did that for free. When the students graduated, they began to get budgets for their film projects, and then they would call me back. And so that's how I started making money. What I noticed was I was being cast for roles, sometimes the gay guy, but it was always the typical flamboyant, loud, obnoxious gay guy. And so I realized that I was working, but I wasn't able to connect or identify with the characters I was being cast as. I would see things in my head, like different scenes, and I would write them out. And so I had all of these scenes in my house, but they didn't go together. And so one day, it was during a downtime where I wasn't working, and I said, I want to make a movie. And so I reached out to a ghostwriter, And the ghostwriter helped me take all of my scenes and put them together. And when we put them all together, that's how I created my first film, which was Red Carpet Hashtags and Heartbreak. Had no idea what I was doing, but some kind of way we got it done. But not having an acting gig that I was able to identify with, but feeling like if nobody's gonna give me my dream role, I'll create it for myself. I learned that I was able to write. And from that project, I began writing on other things, and it just showed me that writing is something that I'm good at. So I have never ever talked about the situation with my son. Son is adopted, but I've had him since birth. Having a kid has taught me that they just love you. No matter what the situation is or the experience, we've gone through so many different things, but as long as he was able to be with me, he was happy. And the way that he's loved me and the way that I've been able to see myself through him, like it causes you to want to be better. When it comes to my professional world, it makes me work so much harder because I'm not just working for me, I'm working for him. I think one of the biggest lessons I'm learning now is now that he's getting ready to leave, I asked him, what is he gonna do without me? And he asked me, but what are you gonna do without me? And that was something that I didn't think about because he's leaving and it's gonna affect me too because we're splitting up and he's been there for the last 17 years of my life, yeah. So when it comes to filmmaking, my ultimate goal is to have my own Lifetime channel or my version of Lifetime Hallmark. I feel like I am a very emotional writer. Anything that I write, I feel like it tugs at the strings of your heart. So my goal would be to have my own Lifetime channel. But I love writing screenplays. I love writing film, but I do want to challenge myself and create a series. So I have a few TV ideas that I want to write and shop around. Because I want a budget. When you work in the independent filmmaking world, you always have to make it work. And I'm a little bit tired of making it work. I want to have enough money to just do what we need to do. And if I could go back in time and give myself any advice, it would be to the day that you realize who you are, and that can be sexuality, that can be talent, whatever it is, embrace it and don't hide yourself from anybody. Because what I've learned is there's always somebody that's waiting on your story, or there's always someone waiting to see your strength or your courage, or somebody waiting to see somebody that they can identify with. And if we're all hiding and not being honest about who we are, you not only hurt yourself, but you hurt so many other people around you. So I would tell myself to just authentically be you and do not care about what anybody else thinks or how anyone else feels about you. I'm Davien Harlis. This is my story, and I'm sticking to it.